At this point, I'm going to show you how to get started. I'm going to pick an example language. I'm going to pick French. So I'm going to just say French deck. This is my new French deck. And I'm going to add material. At this point, this is the window that I'm going to add new cards into, new facts. This is the front of the card. This is what you see, and this is what you don't see. So when you get tested, you're going to see the front of this card, and you're going to have to guess what's on the back. But since you've made the card, you should know what's on the back, or you're going to be reminded until you do know. So let's go. I'm going to use this frequency list, as I recommend you start with the frequency list. What you'll notice is that we're going to take this from the standpoint of someone who doesn't know any French. Nothing. This is an okay frequency list. It has most of the information you need. It has the words. In some cases, it has links to example sentences, like with être, to be. It has, être ou ne pas être, c'est là la question. To be or not to be, that's the question. This is great. This is great for putting things in context. For now, what we're going to do is just look for pictures. We're going to look for words that you can represent with pictures. And so this isn't going to work yet for us. And so what we're going to do is jump around this list. Because these are the most common French words, the first 100 are actually going to be relatively sparse. You're only going to come up with maybe 20 that you can represent with a picture and no other French, because these are all functional words. These are words like it and at and things like this. So let's jump around. Être, avoir, je ne, these are all to have, maybe you could come up with, but I'm going to jump straight to number 17, aller, to go. I think I can come up with something. What you're going to do is go to Google Images and type in aller. The first step I'm going to suggest you do is scroll all the way to the bottom. It's going to take a while because it needs to load all 30,000 pages. And click Switch to Basic Version. The basic version of Google Images uses much smaller images, for one, which are perfectly sized for an iPhone screen. And second, it gives you the context right under each image. You don't have to go clicking for it. It's perfect. It's actually exactly what we need. We don't need to resize any images. It's just right. So if I'm going to look for something that says aller and to go, these three are not bad. Aller au cinéma, he's going to the movies. Je vais aller aux Champs-Élysées, I want to go on the Champs-Élysées. Aller au théâtre. These are all pretty good. I like this guy, so I'm going to take him. Now, at this point I have this image here. I want it to be here. I have a few options. The first option works on all platforms, works on the Mac and on the PC. I'm going to control click or right click on the picture. I'm going to go down to copy image and I'm going to click. I'm going to switch to Anki and I'm going to paste. You have to use keyboard shortcuts here. On a Mac you're going to hit Command V, on a PC you hit Control V. And now my image is here. On this side I'm going to hit aller. Now I want to look at this in both directions. I want to have one card where I just see this picture and I have to think, what's the word for that? Oh yeah, aller. And I want to have another card where I just see the word aller and I have to think, oh, what's the picture for that? Oh yeah, it's that guy who's going. So I'm going to put this in forward direction and reverse. This will give me two cards for every fact. This is one fact, this connection between this picture of this guy and aller, and I'm going to have two cards, one where I see this and one where I see this on the front. I'm going to put in a tag. I'm just going to call this verb, which means verbs, and I'm going to hit add. It's added two cards for this concept. Good. I'm going to go back to my list, and I'm going to scan it. I see aller, I see faire, to do or make, which is not excellent. This is going to be a hard word to represent. Tout, everything, is also difficult to represent. I'm going to jump straight to dire, to say or to tell. I'm going to copy the word, I'm going to put it in here. Because I'm using both directions, it doesn't matter so much which direction I'm putting it in. And I'm going to put dire over here. Now you'll notice one issue here. I'm getting a bunch of pictures of dire wolves and dire wraiths from Marvel, and all these. Dire is an English word, and so I'm getting a lot of things. I do have a good picture for dire, but if I wanted another one that's better, or that I liked more, it's not actually a problem to put in the English to say, if I'm looking for a picture. As long as you're pretty sure that the picture you're looking for actually means what you want it to mean. If you put in a French word and you get all sorts of crazy pictures that don't have anything to do with your word, you might have the wrong definition in your head. Let me show you another way to get the picture into Anki in a Mac. This only works on a Mac. You click on the picture and you drag it into Anki. Alternately, if you this is a good place to learn how to switch applications with your keyboard. If you drag this picture and then you hit Command Tab, it's going to switch straight to Anki. And so then you can put another picture. So I'm going to hit Command Tab, put it here, it's there. Dire, I want both directions, forward and reverse. It's still a verb, and I'm going to add it. You can also add hitting Command and Return. As you learn all these keyboard shortcuts, it's going to go faster. And going faster when you're making thousands of cards, even if you go faster just for, even if it's a few seconds faster, it makes a big difference. Let's go back to this list. Pouvoir, to be able to. Not easy to show a picture for. Vouloir, to want, you could. Savoir, to know. This is not bad. So we'll put in savoir. Something with to know. I don't see very much here. I'm going to go over here. Savoir, anything to know. I don't see very much here, and so I'm going to skip it. I'll try it in English to see if there's something that's really very straightforward to know. This is not bad, and I might take it. I will take it in this case. Savoir. In the cases where you really can't find anything appropriate, just skip it. You're going to get there later. It's fine. Savoir. Du. No. Voir, to see. This is pretty good. Voir. This looks good. The first image looks particularly French. Voir, to see. Straightforward. This is still a verb. I'm kidding. The first 100 words are going to be mostly verbs, oddly enough, just because nouns are less common. There's nothing much here, so I'm going to jump to the next group. Avec moi, quoi, devoir, to have to. Can't find anything for that. Venir, to come. We can try to find something for to come, to arrive. It's not bad. This guy is not bad. This guy's not bad. I'm going to choose this guy. Okay. I'm going to show you a trick. If you liked this card on a Mac, I know how to do this on a Mac. I don't know how to do this on a PC. You're going to have to hold down a bunch of buttons to do this. I've changed my shortcut in keyboard system preferences. I've gone to system preferences to keyboard and messed with it to make it easier. But if you don't want to make it easier, you hit Control, you hit Shift, you hit Command, and then you hit 4. Control, Shift, Command, 4. Okay, your cursor is going to turn into this little target, and you're going to be able to select what you want. It's going to copy it, and at this point you can use this guy. Okay, this is venir. I'm sure there's a way to do it on a PC, but I don't know how. Sur, on top of, you probably could come up with something like that, but let's skip it for a second. Suivre, to follow. It's pretty straightforward. We could probably come up with an image for that, and we do. We find these ducks, which is perfect. Let's just take ducks. Suivre. Pourquoi, why, parler. Here's our first overlap. We just had dire, and now we have parler, to speak, to talk. Dire is to say or to tell. It's a important distinction. It's a little hard to articulate at this point with zero French. And so we probably at this point will just set it aside. We would mark it on our list. This is a list you should print out so you can write on it and say which words you've done. And so circle parler, say you can come up with some sort of thing for it, but it'll overlap with dire. Wait until you know a little more French and you can really separate the two. Prendre, to take or get. We can see if we can get something. We might not be able to. Prendre, I see a lot of people taking their breakfast. I see people taking a bath. If I didn't know that this was a bath, then I couldn't use it. Let's say I do. Let's say I know that prendre le bain, I figure out, okay, that's probably a bath. Then I could use that. I could say prendre le bain. I could take this picture. I could put it in. And then I could occlude just this word. I could cover up this word. You use this button. It's called the close button. You select the word you don't want to see and you click it. What I like to do actually is just replace this whole thing with prendre so I can use it in both directions. At this point, then I'll still have a card where I just see the word prendre and I'll have to think, what context did I use that in? At this point it stays blue because of the way that this close deletion button works. that's okay. That reminds me that I put it in some context. So this is to take a bath, prendre le bain. Great. At some point we're going to hit a noun at some point. There it is. Chose, thing or matter. Let's see if we can come up with something for chose, but probably not. I'm going to guess that this is too abstract. Chose, I see a bunch of things, but nothing that's going to really make me think of maybe the hand. La chose. This could work, but I don't see anything that's appropriate, and it's too abstract for me right now, so I'm going to wait. Sans croire, to believe. This is pretty abstract. Aimer, to love. I'm sure I can find something for aimer. I find a bunch of poems, and perfect. Okay, aimer. Two ladybugs giving each other balloons. It's lovely. Okay. And again, in the first 100 words, I've not found a single noun that I can really do. Here's my first adjective, petit, which is also a noun, but whatever. Petit, I find a lot about the soccer player Petit, and I find Le Petit Prince, but nothing that's particularly small that I think of. So now I'm going to switch to English. In this case, I happen to know that there's no problem with the word petit, but even if I didn't, I could still assume that there's not going to be a problem, and if there's going to be a problem later, then there's going to be a problem and I'm going to fix it. In this case, I did use that little Mac trick of taking just a portion of the picture because I want to focus on the little dog. I want to just see the little dog, see that there's a context of something bigger. If you don't have this trick of finding out just something small and you can't find the right picture, then just skip it. Keep skipping things. This should be as fast as you can go. Merci, thank you. You can probably come up with one. Donner, to give. Do you see anything for to give? I don't really. Let's look at the second page, and if there's nothing, I'm going to skip it. I'm just going to skip it. Words 101 to 150. I'm going to stop when I get to a noun that I can do. There it is. There it is. A man. So, first things first. Now I see lots of men, which I can use, but let's see if we can come up with something better. Google has this lovely feature of being able to switch between pictures of any type to line drawings to clip art. The line drawings, in this case, don't turn out to be very good, but maybe there's something that works well in clip art. And there is. This is perfect. We'll take the male symbol. Oops, I forgot about petit. We'll take the male symbol, and we'll take this manly man, and we'll put him over here. Now, one thing you're going to have to know, and you don't have the grammar yet to do this, if this is your first time with French, is that in French, all of the nouns have gender. There's masculine nouns and feminine nouns. Now, a man is masculine, which makes sense. And so what you're going to need to you have to put the gender in somehow. And the gender is expressed in French using the article. Un homme or l'homme expresses, a man or the man. Un homme will really show you that this is as opposed to une femme. This is the difference between masculine and feminine, and une. This is something that you're going to have to pick up from your French books. This is something you'll pick up easily in the first chapter of any French grammar book. Is definitely going to be about nouns and gender. This information needs to be with the card. You're going to need to keep these two paired. Here's our partir, and this is the last example I'm gonna stick with. Jour. This means a day, and we're probably not going to succeed. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to switch to any type. This could be enough. This picture of night and day, and you're like, okay, this is jour. This is how long a jour is. But it's not quite enough for me. What I would want is some sort of representation of time, that it spans some time. Ideally, what I would want is this, 24 hours. And I don't have this vocabulary yet. I haven't gotten to hours yet. At this point, I can either start running to Google, and I can say, okay, well, I want to translate 24 hours. And I can copy this. And I can say, okay, well, this is a jour. Now I've taught myself the word for hours. And I would say do this. Let's do this. Now I need to teach myself the word for hours. And so I should say, 1 hour, 60 minutes, une heure. This is feminine. And une heure is 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Now, fortunately, these are the same words, which is nice. And let's go for a minute. Une minute, which again has a gender, and we're going to have to look that up in a dictionary. And on the other side, how long is a minute? 60 seconds. 60 secondes. There we go. This will work. Okay, at this point we have a day is 24 hours. We have an hour is 60 minutes. We have a minute is 60 seconds. This is enough to teach you these time concepts, but this is getting complicated. At this point, I would recommend first that you really go for images, and you find the images that are going to work for you, and then go back and come up with things like jour and heure and minute. That's all for this tutorial. Later we'll discuss how to cover concepts that are too complex for images, but this should be your first step. You'll notice that despite taking extra time to discuss things like gender, we still covered 13 words in a little more than 15 minutes, which isn't a bad rate of speed for the initial learning process. Adding cards can go faster as you pick up more French, and you'll have easier words to work with further down on the frequency list, all the common nouns and everything. As always, for more language tips and strategies, visit towerofbabelfish.com.